Taping, yes, taping. Hi guys. It is, well, right now it's Friday around 3:30 in the afternoon. It's still sunny, but it's supposed to get pretty rainy tonight around 5, and I think rain all day tomorrow. Rain makes this so much harder, and tomorrow is day 70 according to the Davis count. So hopefully right now you're outside doing something in the sun, right? Happy Memorial Day weekend. A little bit different than usual, I know. Today is my Alex's 14th birthday, and a fairy godmother friend let him swim laps in her pool this morning. And if you don't know Alex, he's a competitive swimmer, and he has been very seriously doing it for I want to say 8 years. He's been swimming since he was really little, but he's been competitive for a long time too. And today was the first time he got to swim laps in 3 months. So if you ask him what's the hardest part about quarantining, that's what he'll say. He misses his club team, he misses his friends that swim, but he misses being in the water the most. So it was a really good start to his birthday. Fairy godmothers do exist right here in Cedar Grove. And so we're just trying to make him feel super special on his quarantine birthday. He did make me cancel his birthday car parade though, because 14-year-olds are too cool for that. So he doesn't understand that it's not for the birthday kid. It's for all the parents that have nothing else to do with their other kids. It's so that we have something on our schedule. So he made me cancel that, but we get to order takeout tonight for his birthday, so I don't have to cook. So that's all I know. So what we're going to do today, because you guys will be seeing this class tomorrow, and tomorrow it's going to be rainy and gross, is we're going to do a little bit more of a meditative class today with a little breath work, lots of things down on the floor, lots of things down low, deep stretching, and holding poses for a little bit longer than we might normally, just so that we really get lots and lots and lots of stretch and lots of benefit. But I know I've said this before on video for you, but also to my real, my live classes as well. I tend to, for my personal practice, and sometimes when I teach, but more for my personal practice, I tend to do what's going to feel good for me. A lot having to do with based on the weather. So if tomorrow's going to be rainy and gross and cloudy, for me personally, I would do a practice that was lots of deep stretches, and just really lengthening and opening and giving myself time to kind of soften into stuff rather than trying to move quickly. So that's what we're doing today. So you're going to need your mat. You're not going to need, well, you know what? If you have a strap, grab it, because you may need it for some stuff. You're not going to need it for anything, but for some of you, some poses might be easier if you have a strap to use to pull yourself deeper into them. But if you don't have a strap, you'll be fine too, because there's always options, because it's yoga, right? So I am wearing a ball cap today. My hair is not super gross. It's like, it needs to be washed tonight, but it's not behind on the washing schedule. But I walked the dog early this morning. We walked a couple walks yesterday. I did a Tabata yesterday. It's got some old sweat in it, which just doesn't work well for my hair, because my hair is kind of fine to start with. So you know how some people say when they let it go and they don't wash it for a few days, it gets better and better and better. My hair does not get better. My hair is its very best the second I turn off the blow dryer, and then from there it goes downhill. So, all right, let's get started. Get on your mat, get your blanket or your towel or whatever it is that you sit up on to kind of perch yourself, and just push that to the side. You don't need that right now because you're going to start lying down, but you're going to need that in a little bit, because some of the stuff that we're doing is going to have us sitting for a few minutes, and you want to be as comfortable as you can and sit up as straight and tall as you're able to. Okay? I have windows open. If it gets too noisy, if it seems too noisy, I'll shut them, but the fresh air is life right now. So lie on your backs, arms at your side, palms up. Let your feet flop open towards the sides of the room, and just start to find your breath, okay? I'm wearing, I've been rotating different sneakers lately. I always like to have 2 pairs of running shoes, one a little bit older and one a little bit newer, but the older ones are still in good shape, because because when it's not a pandemic, I walk, I don't know, 5 or 6 times a week with the dog or with myself, usually on the trail or, you know, in Brookdale Park. But because of the pandemic, we're walking a lot more than we normally would, and we're walking on the street more, so there's a lot more hills, and you know, it's just a different kind of walking, and it's great, but it's a different kind of walking. So I retired my running shoes like 2 weeks ago, both of my pairs that were getting older, because I can tell when they start to I have flat feet, and I can tell when I need new sneakers because my knees start to get uncomfortable when I'm walking, and I think it has to do with the arches getting, you know, crushed. So I found a pair of bright orange Adidas that I love. Normally I only get ASICs because they have a high arch and like a wide toe box, which I need. But I love these Adidas, and I love them so much that I decided to order them in black too. And for some reason, same size, same style, it just didn't translate from one color to the other. They just were awful. So I sent them back, and I found a pair of black ASICs online, ordered them, tried them, and they made my feet feel like they were super tight and in coffins and hot. Like I felt like my feet were hot. It was awful. So I sent those back. So I'm waiting for the next pair, which I went back to Adidas for, which I think are a style I've had before and really liked. So I'm hopeful. But I've been wearing the orange ones every single day. And then yesterday, and they're great, and then yesterday for some reason, for our afternoon sunset stroll, that makes it sound fancier, I was wearing slides, like my Adidas, you know, like out-of-size slides. And today my knees are just so uncomfortable and tight. Plus it's going to rain, which always affects me too. I think maybe I have like some joint issues with my knees a little bit, because when it gets rainy, I can kind of feel it. So that was just a dumb story about shoes for you. So you're laying here on your back, right? Take inventory. Start at the top of your head, work your way all the way down and out through your feet, and take inventory of how you're feeling. There's so much that can be, and you know, when I tell you to do this, or I suggest that you do this, I don't just mean physically. I mean, we're living in crazy times, right? So take inventory of just how you're doing in general as a person, like your mental health too. I just was texting 2 of my good friends, and we were just, you know, kind of checking in with each other, and I said it's the craziest thing. I have woken up every morning this week at my normal time, like pretty early, but then I kind of lay in bed for like an hour. But I've woken up every morning this week right at the tail end of what's kind of like a really unsettling dream. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a nightmare or a night terror, but it's a really unsettling, uncomfortable dream. And there is a theme, and I think it's because of something that's going on just in general in our family's life right now. But I haven't had nightmares since I was a little kid, so it's kind of throwing me for a loop. And when this all first started 70 days ago, I was having those crazy, crazy vivid dreams, and then they kind of stopped, but now they're sort of back again. So like mental health too. How are you doing? Check in with yourself. This is why I miss that we're not all in the same room, because we could very easily take a few minutes and just sort of talk each other through some stuff, and we can't do it this way. But check in with yourself, and then work your way down. Notice how your shoulders are feeling. Notice how everything's feeling. Notice how your wrists are feeling. We're going to play with our fingers, our wrists. We're going to kind of open up everything a little bit today. And like I said, just take our time moving through some things down low on the floor, pretending that the rain has already started, and just being a little bit more meditative today. I hope you've liked the last couple classes. I get feedback from some of you, but I tend to get feedback from the same people over and over again, and you're just the sweetest, nicest people ever. But if any of you aren't liking things that we're doing, I'd like to hear that as well, because, you know, like I've said before, I'm just here to kind of guide you through this, but these are your classes. So you can tell me what you want to do, and we'll try to mix it in. We'll try to make it work. I just have to, you know, always keep in the back of my mind that there might be people watching that are brand new to yoga, so I don't want to do anything that would discourage anybody from coming back. I want it to be a class that everyone can participate in, which is why yoga is so great, because there's always options for every pose to challenge you at the level that you're at, you know. So if your eyes aren't closed, close them. And just take another couple deep inhales in through the nose, drawing the breath all the way down to the low belly, holding it there for a second, and then slowly exhaling. When I was walking the dog this morning, it was beautiful. The sun was out. It was really warm. I wasn't wearing this tank. I was wearing one that said "Choose Happy," but I spilled some hummus on it, so I couldn't wear it for you. But I was breathing. What was I doing? I was doing breath work as I was walking. We were on Rugby. We were near the high school, and I was breathing in through my nose and out through my mouth. And just as I was on an exhale and my mouth was a little bit open, we walked through a swarm of bugs, and I swallowed like 2 or 3 bugs, and I couldn't get them out of my mouth fast enough. They literally went down. It was my morning protein. It was disgusting. But I was thinking just about how I should have just stuck with regular nose breathing instead. And then it wouldn't have happened. But anyway. Okay. As you're lying here, I'm going to do most of this with you, but some of it I can't because you won't be able to see what I'm doing. As you're lying here, I want you to point and flex your feet. So your legs are out in front of you. You're lying on your back, right? Wearing my favorite new yoga pants again. You're lying on your back. I want you to point and flex, right? Just kind of cracking the ankles. Every time you move a joint around to do anything, unless you're doing something that's unhealthy for you, you're creating space. And when you create that space, you allow synovial fluid, which is the lubricating fluid that helps our joints to move nice and free. You create room for that fluid to flow better. So even just something as simple as pointing and flexing your ankles is going to create space and let lubricating fluid flow a little bit freer in that part of your body. Now, come to a standstill with your legs. Pull your toes back towards you. So flex your feet. But I don't want you to move the whole foot. I just want you to move the toes. So the toes are pulling back towards you and then pointing towards me. You might hear some little cracks if you're super lucky. I always feel really lucky when I hear something crack. You remember when you were little and everyone used to say all the time that if you cracked your fingers too much, or if you cracked your toes too much, or your back too much, you would hurt yourself, or like you'd get those like big bumps on your knuckles. Or for a long time I believed that when I was younger, and I cracked my fingers all the time. I was double jointed, so it felt good to me. And I was so relieved when I got older and found out the truth that you can't hurt yourself doing that. It's actually a good thing to do because you create space for the synovial fluid to run freer. All right, so stop with your feet and let your feet just naturally roll out. So you're lying on your back, okay? Now, your right arm is going to come straight up in the air, and you're going to make circles with your wrist going in either direction. Did you notice that my drink matches my mat? I'm reusing my Starbucks cup from earlier this morning. I had to detour through Nutley, go in the other direction. So I mobile ordered and picked up my usual drink. Ooh, I'm getting so many cracks. So many. Oh my gosh. Now, don't do anything different with that arm. Keep it up or kind of lower it down and let the back of your arm rest on the ground. I want you to make fists, open and close. So now we're kind of playing with all the little bones in the hand. There are so many little bones in your hand and in the length of your fingers. And we tend not to pay a lot of attention to them unless you're a knuckle cracker, right? So I went to Starbucks, I mobile ordered, I got my drink, dropped stuff at my parents, stopped at my best friend's front porch and picked something up for a second. And then I picked up Alex and we went to the farmer's market. And by the time I got home, my drink was completely gone. The ice was melted. It was just as good. But then I like to reuse the cup. It makes me feel less guilty for spending $4.53 on an iced tea lemonade. So this is my next favorite drink. The next time you go to Target or ShopRite, look for the ice drinks. They come in little clear bottles and they come in all different flavors. They're sugar-free. They're calorie-free. This is the Nectarine Mango. And it's like a taste of vacation. Like if a Caribbean vacation or any beach vacation at this point had a taste, it would be this. It's just always cold and refreshing and delicious, and orange is my favorite color. So Nectarine Mango. I also love pink grapefruit. That's a really good one too, and my kids like the lemonade, but ice, I-C-E, they're delicious. They're usually like $1 each. So same thing with the other arm. Up in the air, you're lying on your back, but I want you to be able to see me. And you're making circles with your hand. See, this one I have no cracks, right? So pay attention to that kind of stuff. That's the kind of thing that you want to pay attention to, just so that you get to know your body better and you develop a more intimate relationship with how your body works. Go in the other direction. Now I'm cracking. Now I can hear them. So we just got an email, right, from the town of Cedar Grove that the fireworks are going to happen. That's amazing. Our rec department is the best. They do everything they can to keep things normal, which is so nice. So all different places that you can park. Now make your fist. Can't hang out in groups, but you can hang out in the car and watch the fireworks, and fireworks will make it feel a little bit normal, right? So that's something fun to look forward to. July 2nd, I think is what I saw. Open and close the fist. Open and close. Open and close. Okay, so now you're still lying on your back. You're doing everything on your back right now. What I want you to do now is interlace your fingers on your stomach, flip your hands over, and press up towards the ceiling. Bring everything back down, and then, I don't know, if you're a knuckle cracker, go for it. I got nothing, I think because I was doing it while I was fisting. So, let's move on, okay? So now I am going to lay down, but I want you to be able to still see what I'm doing. So, if you need to look up for just a quick minute, please do that. I know it's weird to lay away from you, but I feel like it's the only way that you guys can see certain things. So, lying on our backs, right? Hands go up in the prayer position. Flip them over like you just did. Now you're going to bring them all the way to the ground. You want the pinkies to go to the ground behind you. And you want to try to let the length of your arm rest on the ground. So you're opening up your shoulder. Notice if you feel this more on one side than the other. And if this is super uncomfortable for you, then make the arms wider. And we're just going to let the arms rest here. We're going to let the shoulders open a little tiny bit. We're breathing in through our nose and out through our nose. And we're just taking some time here to be super present in the moment, in our practice, in this self-care time that we've designated for ourselves. right, bring your arms back up and release them down. Now, come into the big T, which you've done a whole bunch of times with me. Arms come out, palms come up. We're going to come into the twist that we normally come into to start with. At the end, we're going to do a slightly different twist, but we're going to come into our normal twist. And then after we lay there for maybe a minute or so on each side, we're going to turn it into clamshell. So we're going to go from twisting to making it a shoulder opener without a whole lot of movement or jarring, so that we can stay in this calm, restful place and not get, you know, a little bit thrown off by having to change positions too much. So knees come in, drop them over to your right. Keep the left arm down on the ground. When your knees drop, if your left arm kind of bounces up a little bit, that's fine. Just reposition it once you've got the legs down. And if you need to take the right hand and weigh down the outside of the top leg, feel free to do that as well. Remember that you're looking straight up or you're looking towards your left hand. Just another couple breaths here. Okay, so now we're going to turn this into our clamshell, starting off with the left arm. So we're going to close the left arm up to meet the right. We're going to turn onto our side. Our legs are staying in the same position that they were in for the twist. So nothing else is moving except that we swung the left arm over so that we're palm to palm. Okay, your lower body stays exactly as it is, transitioning from the twist into clamshell. Take a big breath in. Exhale the breath. Inhale, swing the arm up. Bring it all the way down to the ground behind you. Follow the arm with your gaze. And then as you exhale, the arm comes back up and you meet palm to palm. So you're moving on your own breath. You don't have to go at the same pace that I might go at or that I might verbally cue you at. You move on your own pace, and you might go really slow if that feels better for your shoulder. You might go faster if that feels better, but you move 100% at your own pace based on your breath, okay? So we're just gonna do this for about a minute on this side, and if you get 20 done, awesome. If you get 5 done, that's just as good, okay? Inhale. Exhale. And then on your next inhale, you're going to start moving, swinging open and closing. So go at your own pace. I'm just going to tell you when to stop, okay? Okay, everybody's going to do one more, and you're going to stay in your open position. So do one more half round. Stay open. The arms are going to stay exactly where they are. The knees are going to come up. And you're going to keep the right knee bent, right foot on the floor. But you're going to reach in between your legs for the big toes of the left foot. And then extend the left leg out to the side, pressing out through the bottom of the foot and the back of the knee, just to open up the hamstring and the hip, everything in the back of the leg. Bring it in, cross the left ankle over the right knee, flex your foot, okay? So you're pushing out through the four corners of the feet that we talked about a lot the other day. Big toe mound, pinky toe side, inner heel, outer heel. And without using your hands, push the knee away from you. So I'm not using my hands, but I'm pushing the knee away muscularly. I'm pushing out through the four corners of my feet, and I'm cracking open the tightness in my left hip. And I can feel it right in my hip crease. So arms come out, palms up, muscularly push the knee away from you, but continue to flex through the bottom of that foot. Nice big breath in. Exhale, bring that leg straight up in the air. And then we're just going to take our time, lowering it all the way down to the ground in front of you. Trying not to let it drop, but to be very controlled using our hip, our quad, just getting it down to the floor in a nice controlled action. All right, now we're going to do the same sequence on the other side. So we're going to start with the twist. Knees come in, knees drop over to the left. The right arm stays out at your side, palm up. Both your arms are out, palms up, but the right arm is the one that you're focusing on because that's the one that might want to bounce up a little bit. You're not going to let it. You're going to keep it anchored. You're looking straight up or you're looking towards your right hand. Find your breath here, in and out. Focusing on the breath, consciously breathing, so that if any tightness is uncomfortable at all, you can go to the breath and not pay attention to the tightness. Take one more deep inhale. Exhale the breath. Now that right arm is going to come up and over. You're going to transition onto your side, and your palms are touching one another. So now we're going to start our twist. We're going to take a big breath in to start with. Inhale. Exhale. And then on the next inhale, we're going to swing up and open. Remembering what we said last time, that you don't have to do a ton of these. You just want them to be really effective, and you want to move on your breath. So you inhale, open. You exhale to close. So we're going to go for about a minute, just like we did on the other side, and I'm only going to cue you when we're down to our last one. So do 5, do 3, do 15, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that it feels good in your shoulder and that you're moving on your inhale and exhale. When I'm here, when I'm in this open position, I feel such a nice release in the back of my right hip. I'm not sure I understand why, but this position feels the best to me right now. Let's do one more closed. And then we're going to do one more open. So on your inhale, swing the top arm open, the right arm open. Take a couple deep breaths here. Let that right arm really settle down into the floor. And then the knees are going to come on up to center. And we're going to do the same sequence that we did. My hoodie's all bunched up. Same sequence that we did last time. So we're going to keep our left knee bent. Keep our left foot just loosely on the floor. We're going to go in between our legs for the big toe of our right foot and just extend it out. Left arm can stay out at your side, palm up. Find your breath here. Notice where you're tight. My hamstring's so much tighter on this side than on the other side, but it's a really good stretch. It's very satisfying. Now, cross the right ankle over the left knee. Flex out through the four corners of the foot. So toes pull back. And then muscularly push the right knee away from you. And if one side's tighter for you, like for me, my right hip is tighter, so I don't get as much movement with that knee because the hip isn't allowing it. So I want to kind of coax it a little bit, maybe pull it back in, go in for another pull. And just kind of play with it a little bit and see where you can feel like it's releasing you. That's the whole name of the game with most yoga poses. Doing them repetitively, but doing them consciously enough that you can figure out where you're going to get the release from the pose. Push the knee away. And then extend straight up. Flex the foot. And then again, with a lot of control, using the quad and the hip, we're just going to slowly lower that foot to the floor. We're not going to let it crash land. We're just going to take our time, playing a little bit with our muscular control, playing with that quad, which is the biggest muscle in the body. And just slowly, slowly, slowly letting everything go. And as we do this, we're lengthening out through the heel and trying to create some space in the hip until we touch down on the floor. I'm down. And then we're going to bring both legs out long in front of us, just like we're back at the beginning. Arms out, palms up. Close your eyes. Find your breath a little bit here. That was a nice little hip sequence. You should feel a little bit of space in your hips, right? If you find your hip bones right at the top of your thighs, right up the middle, they should be sitting nice and low. That's what you want. You don't want them to be protruding high. You want them to be sitting nice and low right now. So that's what I've got going on. I hope that's what you've got too. Now, while we're down here, let's just turn our head towards the right. Let's get our right ear down to the floor, stretching out the muscles on the left side of the neck and into the top of the left shoulder. So turn your head, right ear to the floor. If you're able to, you're looking at the right hand. right, let's bring the head up to center. Same thing on the other side. So left ear to the floor. Head up to center. Let's come into a happy baby. So you know you always have two options here. Well, you have three options. There's always the option of just doing a hand on the outside of each knee and letting that pull you wide. And then there's the option of big toe, right? And if this for some reason is uncomfortable, this is my favorite. If this for some reason is uncomfortable, you can always reach for the outside edges of your feet and do it that way. But let's come into a happy baby. Find a little movement. Let our legs go as wide as we're comfortable. Make sure you can bend your elbows out to the side a little bit so you know that you're not locking your shoulders at all. Come on to the middle. Now we're going to bring the bottoms of our feet together. Let our knees go out to the sides. Soles of the feet are touching. Some teachers like to say that your feet are kissing each other. Let's bring our arms into cactus here. So rather than the big T, we're going to bend them and we're going to bring them down to the floor bent. But if the whole back of your arm is not flush on the floor, then straighten them until it is. You don't want to have any big air bubbles underneath your arms and the floor. So when you're lying here and you're feeling a little hip tightness and your knees are feeling like if you lift them, the hips will feel better. With every inhale, try to let the outside of your knees sink closer to the floor. Okay, so take a big breath in. And as you exhale, release the hips a little bit more, the inner hip muscles, the groin muscles. Inhale. And let the knees release a little bit more. And then one more time. Inhale. And release. All right, bring your knees up to center. Now you're going to do the opposite. You're going to go wide with your feet, and you're going to let your knees tower in towards one another. So you really don't have to do a whole lot of anything to keep your knees in this position. They're just leaning in towards one another comfortably, and they're staying upright without a whole lot of muscular effort. Now from here, our feet are already wide, right? Already wide. So we're going to bring the knees up to center. If you want to move your feet in a little bit closer, you can do that. We're going to drop the right knee down to the inside of the left foot. So when I do this, I do shimmy my foot out to the side a little bit. You're going to let the knee drop. You're going to feel this the most in your quad, the top of your thigh, maybe into your hip a little bit. And you're just going to try to let it relax, even if it's uncomfortable. And then we're going to come up, and we're going to do the same thing with the left. So we're going to kind of ease our way into this one a little bit, because we're going to take this and make it a little bit bigger in just a second. Couple breaths here. Bring it up. Now we're going to do the same thing on the right side again, but it's not going to be quite so uncomfortable because we've already done it once. Sometimes when you're trying to do a little bit more meditative of a practice, a little bit more therapeutic, repetition is more important than how many poses you do. You know, I mean, in some regular classes, bring the knee up, we're going to drop the left again. In some typical classes, we might repeat things a couple times, but it's more because that's just part of a sequence. When you're doing a more therapeutic class, you're repeating things with the intention of allowing them to slowly open. All right, one more time on each side. So right knee down to the inside the left foot. So now the inside of my right knee is all the way down on the floor, and I can feel the stretch, but it's not quite so intense. It's definitely warmed up and lengthened itself out a little bit. Right knee up. Let's do the same thing on the left side. Last time on the left side. Bring it up, and now we're going to do the soles of the feet together again, knees out to the side, just to do the opposite action for a quick second. I hope your shoulders are feeling really comfortable and relaxed. Mine feels so good right now. I almost said they feel as good as if I had a massage, but that would be stupid. That would be silly of me, but they feel really, really good. Very chill. All right, make your way up to a comfortable seated position facing me. Now is the time where if you have your blanket or something, you want to put it down and then slide onto it so that your tailbone is what is on it. So right now I'm sitting on the whole blanket. I'm going to pull myself forward so that I'm just about off the blanket, but my tailbone is still elevated. That's the lift I want. So what we're going to do here is extend our, left leg out in front. Right leg is going to come out to the side. Easy peasy, right? This is no big deal. It's like I'm on the beach. And now, with our leg out to the side, we're just going to start to lean back into our pose. I'm going to come forward a little bit more, actually. Lean back into our pose. Maybe coming down onto our forearms. And that intensifies the stretch on our quad a little bit. And if this is okay, I don't know if I'm going to hit my head on the wall. I might need to come down even more. If this is okay, then you can go from here all the way back. And then we're going to bring our arms out, big T, palms up, and just take some deep breaths. And now we're going to start to work ourselves up. We're going to come up onto our forearms first. High. And then from here, we're going to come all the way up. Now, we're going to keep our leg in this position for just a second. I'm totally off my blanket. I'm going to scoot it down, get my tailbone under it. From here, we're gonna go into a forward bend over the left leg, okay? So I'm itchy. So the left leg is gonna stay out in front, but we're now gonna flex the left foot. So I'm pressing out through the four corners of the foot. I'm pulling the toes back. I'm pressing out through the heel and the big toe mount. Arms are gonna come up. And as we exhale, we're gonna come into a forward bend, trying to do our nose to knee pose, our Janu Shirshasana. So grab anything. You can be holding your pants, you can be holding your inner knee, you can be holding your foot, whatever's comfortable, but you wanna pull yourself down, nose to knee. You don't wanna round your back. You wanna lead with your heart, but you wanna try to get as close to your knee as you can. And for some people that may be a foot away. For others it may be 6 inches, it may be 2 inches. It doesn't matter. It's the lengthening in the low back that you're going for. And as long as you're pulling towards the knee, you're gonna get the lengthening. All right, come on up. Don't come out of the pose. Rather than nose to knee, look at your toes. Pull yourself towards your foot. Now we're gonna come up. Okay? We're gonna keep the right leg as it is. We're not quite done with this yet. Now, with the right leg as it is, we're gonna come down onto the left forearm and swing the right arm up and over, looking up underneath our right arm, getting a side body stretch, and also moving that shoulder blade around on the back. But now take a look at your left foot. You don't want the foot to flop just because your arm's going in that direction. You want to continue to press out through the four corners of the foot, keep the foot straight out. Find your breath here, inhaling and exhaling. One more, inhale and exhale. Now come on up. And I think we've got the right hip in good shape. So now we're gonna switch sides. Ooh, that was a really good crack. You guys didn't hear that, did you? That was more like a crack that you feel than you hear. You know what I mean? So now we're gonna do the same thing, left leg out to the side. Now, an odd phenomenon for me is that even though my right hip is tighter than my left, I have a harder time doing this with my left leg bent. I don't know why. Maybe it's my quad. Maybe it's not my hip at all. Maybe it's my quad, but I have a harder time. So remember what we did last time. We're going to work our way down, coming onto our forearms, right? See? This side, this shoulder wants to buckle up. I don't know. And then if you can stay here, but if you can go down, go down. See, I have a much harder time with this. I'm gonna stay on my forearms for this because this just, it hurts my inner knee. The whole thing just feels much more uncomfortable on this side. I'm gonna maintain the pose. I'm just gonna choose to do it not quite as intensely. Breathe into it. Try to let things soften as you breathe. And then we're going to come on up. And if you've got your blanket, perch yourself on it. And we're going to come into our Janu Shirshasana, our forward bend with this, right? So arms up. See, I'm leaning to the side and everything. I don't usually see myself practice, but because I'm looking right at the camera, I can see it. I don't know what exactly it is. Kind of weird. Flex the right foot, start to forward bend. Forward bending always feels good to me. but I just don't have the room on this side that I had on the other side. So it's a totally different pose for me on this side versus the other. And I think typically, because I practice yoga enough and often enough, I don't feel that very often. But for sure today, it's strong. So nose to knee, if you can. And then we're going to come up, but we're not going to come out of the pose. So now we're looking at our toes, bending our elbows out to the side. And then walking up. Now we're going to come into the forearm part. So we're going to come down onto the right forearm. I think I just chopped my head off. And the left arm's going to swing up and over. I don't think you're getting much of this in the camera, but you know what we did last time, right? Find your breath. And then come on up. And we're going to bring the left leg back out in front of us. Perch yourself up on your blanket. I'm sorry I've got this little cough. It's, I'm fine. I swear I'm totally fine. It's allergies. It's my drip. It's my gross sinuses. So let's keep the left leg bent in, right leg out. We're just going to massage out our foot a little bit using the pads of our thumbs. So just go to the bottom of your foot. We did this the other day. Massage out a little bit. Your toes. Do whatever feels good just to get the blood circulating. Ooh, did you hear that one? That was a good one. But now as you're sitting here doing this on the left foot, right foot is flexed. I'm so glad you guys can't see close up how disgusting my feet are. I can't even imagine how long the lines are going to be for pedicures when this is over and we're allowed to go. And I can't even imagine that my first pedicure back would take less than like 4 hours. I don't know. My brother and sister-in-law are in Texas, and my sister-in-law can go get her nails and her hair and stuff done. And I'm so jealous. I'm jealous mostly of the pedicure part. I can do my hands. That's not the worst thing. And I do want a haircut. I don't know why, but I'm desperate to cut off like a whole bunch of inches. But my feet, man, just gross me out. Okay, now we're going to switch sides. So extend the left leg out. Right foot comes in. Same thing. You're going to use the pads of your thumb. And you're just going to massage around a little bit, flexing the left foot as you do it. So the reason we're flexing the off foot is so that that leg stays engaged muscularly. It doesn't just become, you know, like driftwood doing nothing. It stays engaged. That's what we want. Get the arch really good. It doesn't feel nearly as good when you do it to yourself, but it still feels good to get into that arch. Now you're going to come to a comfortable seated position. And we're going to do the same thing with your hands. We're going to start with the left hand, using the right hand to massage. And just kind of go around your palm, get the base of your fingers. Go up your fingers a little bit. This is when it would come in handy to have lotion, but you never ever do yoga with lotion. Ever, ever, ever. You will learn a harsh lesson when you can't stick on your mat at all. No cracks. Switch to the other hand. up the length of your fingers. All right, we're gonna come into one last twist. We're just gonna do a simple seated twist, and then you're gonna go right into Shavasana. Once again, I have no idea how much time we've spent together, but I kind of really like those sequences that we did, connecting one thing to another and staying down low for the whole practice, but taking our time to go deeper into things and holding them a little bit longer. I think that's gonna be really, really nice tomorrow when it's rainy and dark and gray, and you kick your family out of your yoga space and maybe light your favorite candle and just spend an hour practicing and feeling good. I think it's going to be really nice for tomorrow morning. So we're going to do right hand on left knee, left hand on the fingertips as always behind you. Press into your mat with the left hand. Twist yourself from the spine, the base of the spine, up through the crown of the head, coming into a full twist. Come on back to center. We're going to switch sides and do the same thing. So left hand to the top of the right knee, right fingertips behind you. Press into the mat through the fingertips, and then press into the outside of the knee and rotate from the base of your spine up through the crown of your head like a little tornado. All right, come on back to center. You guys are going to lay yourself out long on your mat, coming into a comfortable position for your Shavasana. Just for a couple minutes of relaxing, listening to your own breath, taking inventory of how your body feels and how your mind feels, especially just like we did in the very beginning. Hopefully, as always, I hope you feel a lot better now than you did when you started. I do. I for sure do. I'm going to jack myself all up in about 20 minutes when I take the dog out for our sunset stroll. But right now, my yoga worked for sure. So I hope it did for you too. Close your eyes. Arms are at your sides, palms up. They don't have to be in the big T, but you want the palms up so that your shoulders continue to soften. Did you guys notice my farmer's tan cuts off on my upper arm right here? See that? I've never had a farmer's tan in my whole life. I work really, really hard all summer at the pool to only wear bathing suit tops that don't have straps so that I don't have any strap lines from like the underarm up. I don't know why, but I hate that. I just hate it on me. I like a nice straight color right across my shoulders and my, my upper chest. But this year, everything's different. So I'm going to have a walking farmer's tan. I wore a tank top today because it was nice and warm this morning. It's going to give me tan lines though, so I don't know. Praying for a miracle that we get some pool time in so that I can reverse the farmer's tan. So start at the top of your head. And start right away, right? We're starting with our head. But start right away with your mental state. You know, if you came to your mat and you were a little agitated, or you were just uncomfortable in your own skin, or you were restless, or maybe you just woke up, you know, like I know the other day I've had one morning so far where I woke up and just felt out of control, like just, I don't know how to make this better for my kids. I couldn't stop my brain from thinking. And I think what was doing it was that I was worried about how to make Alex's birthday special for him here in quarantine. And I didn't want to let him down. And I just felt totally out of control by the whole situation, by the whole world right now. And I'm fortunate that I've only had one morning like that so far, and I got myself in check pretty quick, and I talked to my best friend, and I'm sure I talked to my mom for a minute, and my brother, and I got it together quickly, because that just spirals, and that's not a good place to be, especially when we can't do anything about what's going on. But I want you to start with your head and just see if you're feeling a little less those things, a little less anxious, a little less antsy, a little less like your mind is racing maybe. You want to feel more centered. You want to feel more grounded. You want to feel just more at peace with the way things are, because right now it's just the way things are. And then you're going to work your way down and go into the whole physicality of your practice. You know, how do your shoulders feel? It's okay to feel a little bit like you've spent your muscles. It's okay to feel a little bit that way. We didn't do a lot of quick moving. We didn't do a lot of changing positions. We didn't do a lot of that today, but we held things a little bit longer than we might normally, and we went a little bit deeper into some things. And sometimes, without you even realizing it's happening, that's exhausting. So, work your way down and just see how you feel. If you're lying on your mat and you're saying, in any sense of the word, I feel really good, then you need to thank yourself for making the time to come to your mat, to practice. Thank yourself for taking the time to do a little bit of self-care, and just, you know, and just give yourself a little bit of a moment, because you didn't have to do this morning and you chose to, and that's a good thing. So we're going to take one more deep breath in, and then you have two options. You can bend your knees, roll over to your right, come up to a comfortable seated position, or you can hug your knees in and just rock yourself up to a comfortable seated position, whichever one you prefer. So hands are going to come to the heart in prayer. We're going to take a big full breath in. Press your palms together so your elbows lift a little. Big breath in. Exhale. And then one more inhale. Namaste. Thank you, guys. I don't like it at the end of a class when classes clap for the teacher. I don't like that. That makes me super uncomfortable. If there's anything I don't like about teaching, it's that moment. I don't like that. But I feel like I can totally clap for you guys, and thank you for coming, and thank you for taking the time to spend with me, and for embracing how yoga has been able to turn into a virtual platform for now and still fulfill a need for all of us, right? And we kind of get to spend time together a little bit. I mean, at least I don't get to see you guys or hear you, and I'm sorry for that, and I apologize if I talk way too much. But thank you for inviting me into your home every week, some of you twice a week, and just thank you for embracing this style of yoga for now, because it's working. It's not ideal, but it's working, right? So have a great Memorial Day weekend. I don't know. That's it. If you're someone who's lucky enough to be at the beach, enjoy that. If you're just hanging out on your deck or barbecuing with your family, enjoy that. And if you love the rain, then you're in luck, because I think that's what's headed our way. Okay? Thank you guys so much. Thanks for spending time with me again. Take care.